I'm Mary Berg Delong, and I really grew up in Incarnation Parish all throughout my life. Let's see, okay, I went to nursery school here. It was right on 38th Street, and the building faced the convent. And it was just a huge room and little rooms around it. So I went to nursery school while my mother would have my sister and brother at home. And so we never had a car, so someone would pick me up and bring me back home. And then I do remember that once I was, after school, I had to go and be babysat by somebody who lived right on 38th and Pleasant, right near the church. And they had a lot of boys, little boys, and I was really afraid of those boys, but they were the Muellers. And so that's the one thing. And the other time that I got home from nursery school, no one was in the house, so I had to go looking, and here was my mother across on the other side of the block with my neighbor friends and my sister and my brother in a little stroller, and they're walking around the block, and I just felt so out of it. But anyway, I just am happy that I've been attached to Incarnation. And since we never had a car when I went to school here, and we lived on 40th in Portland, on Sunday mornings, if the weather was bad, we'd take the bus instead of walking the 14 blocks to Incarnation. And my father would say, okay, if the bus is coming east, we're going to go to Holy Name, but if it's coming west, we'll go to Incarnation. And that was because Portland was the dividing line between the two parishes, Holy Name and Incarnation, and we lived on the even side of the street. So therefore we went to Incarnation, and the Grogans across the street went to Holy Name. And then I really enjoyed going to school here from 5th grade to 8th grade. I was back. It was right where the new building was, right across the street here.
Oh.
It was a building facing the convent between Pleasant and Grand. And when we went to school here, we always called that the departmental, the new building, the departmental, where we went to 7th and 8th grade. Never had uniforms, just whatever clothes we had,
Really?
That's why I think our graduation picture looks so great with all the boys in their suits and shirts and ties. When we were in 6th grade, and I think it was Sister Anastasia, and we were in the other building over here, this young man came into our classroom from New York. He had on a suit with the knickers. It was like a tweed brown suit, shirt and tie. And so, of course, he immediately realized he was not dressed like the rest of us. Turned out his father was the president of Fannie Farmer Candy Company, and so he quickly got his, attire to match everybody else in the class. And he would always, for the Valentine's party, he would bring a huge box of Fannie Farmer candy bars and everything. And he was really, it was just really kind of fun to have him in our class. I still have friends, that I met here that I still see in 5th grade. We've kept friends all these years. And I really enjoyed the nuns because I didn't really see them ever being abusive to anybody, even the boys that would act up. They weren't. I didn't see that. But maybe other people did. And they had so many programs, like study programs where an adult would help a child that needed study, and then visiting friends, which my daughter Sarah did with Addie Cronin. And that lasted from Sarah being in 5th grade all the way into college before Addie passed away. So that was a very wonderful experience for both of them. And then they had Meals on Wheels, which I did, and all these churches were really into ecumenism. And we would have our meetings at different churches. When we had it here, then I had to tell them about Incarnation, and each time we go to a church, it would be the history of that particular church. And then we also, as a board, on the trust board, we would have to interview anyone that they were going to hire for a paid job. It was interesting. I didn't really want to do it because the meetings were at night, and I kind of like doing things, volunteer in the daytime with my big family, but I did do that. Father McCann had called me, and I said, okay. So
What?
That probably was in the 80s, I think. In the 80s. When we left Incarnation too, they had sodalities. You know, we were in 8th grade, then we're heading out to 9th grade at other schools, and so they kind of kept us back in the church with a lot of stuff going around. They'd have dance lessons and picnics and stuff. However, I didn't really continue with that. It was kind of a long way to go from my house. I think it was just that we would continue being a part of the church. We really didn't have any kind of rules that I can remember, but I know they had like a president. Well, we were kind of brought into it just because we were the graduating class, and we were brought into, they called it the sodality. Somebody else might know more about it, you know, that was, because I have talked to Bob Morenin, who was in my class,
oh, yeah.
And I've been interviewing him over the telephone, and he might even send some artifacts. He remembers getting an Incarnation I letter for, I don't know if it was good conduct or what, I don't know about him, but it's an I, and I said, I don't remember that, but he has a few things that he remembers. So you had to make a lunch and bring it for an auction, sort of a fundraiser for the sodality. So I don't know, I guess I just didn't continue much with that, but it would be all those who had even graduated before you too. So it wasn't just, you know, our class. I went to Bryant and Central. Because we were half grades. If I'd gone to Holy Angels, I would have had to go back to half a year.
Yeah,
and I didn't want to do that. I had wonderful teachers. And, well, there was Father Colbert and Father, actually Father O'Sullivan was here at one time. Father Colbert. Oh, Father Buchanan, yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were like 5 priests at least. Yeah, it was really nice. I'm glad that even though we had to walk 14 blocks, I'm glad we came. Going home, we'd walk on those mounds of snow that were plowed up on the boulevards all across 38th Street to Portland. We're walking on that great big mound of snow. And yeah, and we were so safe too. I mean, even in high school, this has nothing to do with the Incarnation, but in high school we would, our class would go bowling, midnight bowling on 38th and Nicollet. And some of our class lived way over on 36th and 14th Avenue. And at, you know, 12 o'clock or 1 in the morning, we are walking home safely. And even all my friends, we would go downtown, and if the bus wasn't coming, you know, after we've seen a movie downtown, we could just walk up. And if the bus, or the streetcar, it wasn't a bus, it was a streetcar. When the streetcar didn't even get there till we were almost to Lake Street, we just said, nah, we'll just keep walking.
Sure.
So it was a safe time. But I wish I could think of more. Sister Myron I had in 5th grade over in that building. And then later I had her in, I think it was history in 8th grade too. And that's another thing, because I was in the children's choir, and it was always the 9 o'clock mass for the children, and we all sat together in the front, right, left section. The parents would sit elsewhere. You wouldn't even be sitting with your parents. You'd be at the children's mass, 9 o'clock mass, and that's where we'd sit.